Mel Wells, who is here to talk all about her brand new book, Hungry for More. Just by way of very quick introduction, not that she really needs one, Mel is a 2-time author, an actress, a health and food coach, founder of the Goddess Revolution, and TEDx speaker. Mel suffered from eating disorders for about 6 years before she came up with an absolutely amazing and unique way to heal herself, and has shared it with so many women and helped people all across the world. So fast forward to today, she's lived in Bali, run retreats, helped people the world over, and has a second book under her belt. Sorry to talk at you so much, Mel. It's really hard to do an intro that does you justice. Is there anything at all?
I mean, you really bigged me up there. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Oh, well, yeah, thank you. It means a lot to me.
So just sort of to bring people up to speed with how you got to writing your second book today, can you talk a little bit about your journey? So you mentioned, I think, in your first book that you started life with actually a great relationship with food in your body, and it was performing arts school that kind of started to change things for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think with eating disorders, they actually, like, a seed can be planted in your mind at a really young age, to become more aware of your body or aware of food. But yeah, certainly Performing Arts College was where it kind of developed into a disorder. And yeah, that kind of took me on that journey, like you said, of just experiencing a very disordered relationship with food for 6 to 7 years, really. Yeah, like the journey of healing, that is what I wrote the first book about, which is really about deconstructing all of your beliefs around food, diets, weight loss, your body, and kind of putting them back together again in a much more real and healthy way, because we have been brainwashed by diet culture in such a huge way. And so many of us believe things about food that are simply not true and not serving us. For example, food is the enemy, carbs are evil, sugar is the devil, fat in food will make me fat, if I'm thinner, I'm automatically happier. All of this is just total bullshit that we kind of buy into and take on as truth. And so the first book is really about getting to what's really true and what you really want to believe about food, so that you can live at peace with food and at peace with yourself. And the second book, I wrote the second book because I realized that through healing my relationship with food, it actually opened me up to this whole world of personal growth and personal power. Because if I could do that, what else could I do in my life? If I could create that kind of a massive change and transformation, how else could I do that in my life, And at the time, I was still living a life that didn't really feel like mine. I didn't really feel like I was able to be fully myself around the people that I was spending the most time with. I was, not in the most fulfilled relationship because I wasn't in I hadn't learned to love myself. So really, the second book is a journey to the soul. It's about you discovering who you really are beneath those kind of food patterns and behaviors. Like, what are they trying to teach you, and how can you kind of use those to help guide you in the direction of where your life is pointing you. So it's for people, I think it's a good book for people that have healed their stuff with food, but I think it's also a really good book for people that have not, because it's about understanding what your cravings and your patterns around food could be pointing to, so that you can go out and live your life. Like, I don't want people to stay obsessed with food their whole life. I don't want people to become, just so invested in health and wellness that it takes over their life. I mean, I think health and wellness is great, but I want you to go and live your life, So really it's about making peace with food and yourself so that you can go live your fullest life and go after your big dreams.
That's so true. Like you say as well, there's so much energy that goes into like obsessing every second of the day around what you're eating. And it's like, what could we be achieving if that was going into something else,
Right, exactly. Like when we do that, we're really underestimating our potential. We are not put on this planet to control our food and, weigh ourselves. It's crazy. But we get sucked into this kind of world that tells us that that's all we're good for, and we can't go off into the world and do cool stuff until we've lost weight first or found the perfect diet. It's ludicrous. But yeah, like that was a huge part of my journey and a huge part of the second book is like, what is the big picture of your life? You know, because it's not about food, it's not about weight loss, it's about you, like living your fullest life.
Yeah. You mentioned in an interview recently, I think it was on the Waybox podcast, you said that you sort of delivered your TED talk and it's quite hard not to perform because your background, you know, you're an actress, right? That's kind of what you did. And you mentioned a conversation with your partner where he was kind of talking to you about acting and you weren't sure it was part of your life anymore, but you are
Yeah.
actually kind of making a return to that. And something he said to you prompted quite an emotional reaction. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. That is something that's quite recent for me. So that only happened in December. So yeah, he said to me, well, if you had never had an eating disorder, what would you be doing with your life? And I was just like, oh my God, you are so right. I would still be acting. So like groundbreaking. So I was like, yeah, why am I not doing that? And I think I blamed that industry so much for my issues. Instead of acknowledging that it was a part of who I really was. And so, you know, I've shared that story in this second book as well. Like my return to that world is daunting and scary for me and intimidating for me, but I'm like doing it and it is like so good for me. Like even though I'm so busy with the promotion of this book and, you know, got loads of stuff going on in my business, I'm making the time to spend like 3 times a week I'm in class, and it's just like, and I'm hanging out with actors, and it's just giving so much to my soul. And if I'd not gone on this journey, there's no way that I would have been able to do that. So really the tools in this book are to help you uncover those hidden aspects of yourself that you might have been buried, because when you have food issues, that just takes over your whole life. You know, you forget who you were before that took over. So yeah, it's a journey that I'm still on, and it's just never ending. You're just always uncovering more stuff about you, and it's an incredible journey to be on.
Yeah, definitely. I guess it goes to show as well, you know, you can have sort of multiple aspects to your purpose in life and what makes you who you are. You don't have to be defined by one career or, you know, obviously you have a massive calling to kind of do what you're doing and help so many women with their body and food issues. But equally, you know, that's not all you are. And, you know,
Yeah,
it's a process, isn't it? Just discovering what else you're meant to be.
completely.
So in terms of writing the books, have you found writing Hungry for More to be sort of the same as when you wrote The Goddess Revolution? Has one been harder to kind of tackle than the other?
I would say with the Goddess Revolution, I just couldn't write it fast enough. It just like poured out of me, and I was just like desperate to just get it out there like yesterday. So I kind of, the whole time I wrote that, I felt like I was like high on drugs or something. It was just like, not, not that I experienced that, but like, it was just like, like, gotta write this. It was just like a roller coaster of just like this crazy high of like, I've got to get this out there now. Because it was just like, oh my God, more people need to know this now. So it was more urgent. Whereas with Hungry for More, I think I took more time on it because it goes into so many different areas of your life, and it definitely dives a bit deeper. So there's not really anything in Hungry for More about dieting. There's a little bit, but it doesn't really. It goes deeper into you and your soul cravings, which is a message that I really wanted to get out there into the world. But like definitely the Goddess Revolution was just like a crazy writing journey, whereas this is a lot more peaceful.
I guess it's sort of a very big topic as well, isn't it? Sort of looking at you know, life purpose and unpacking sort of those deeper emotional and psychological things. It's not quite as simple as, you know, this is diet culture, let's expose it. You know,
Yeah.
a lot more there. Um,
Yeah.
you touch on spirituality a bit more in this book, and I had a cheeky stalk on Google Books and read a little bit about it, and I really love something you said about how spirituality doesn't have to be, you know, crystals in your bra or like being a monk meditating on top of a mountain type thing. It can
Yeah.
be or as like self-care, or, you know, if you're a bit more cynical, even things like a workout and self-awareness. Was there
Mm,
a point where you kind of started, becoming more aware of spirituality, or, was your time
mm.
something that kind of sparked some of that in you?
I would honestly say, and I share this story in the book, like it was my healing of my relationship with food that led me to become more in touch with my spirituality, because in doing that I had to surrender and I had to trust. I had to let go of control. I had to trust that I was moving in the right direction to healing and to my best self. And that felt like handing myself over to a power greater than me and saying, I surrender, I'm done, I cannot do this anymore, help me. And honestly, like, that, doing that was the best thing I ever did. And so yeah, I definitely believe that in me surrendering control around food and trusting my body again, it was also me simultaneously surrendering and trusting my path and trusting myself. And then it kind of, as I was able to listen to my body's intuition more, I was able to listen to my soul, and I was able to listen to those nudges and those like callings and those kind of voices that are like, this is where you need to be going. And it's like the two were hand in hand for me. So it was a really natural part of the journey. And I believe that, an eating disorder is an addiction. And so in healing any addiction, what really heals an addiction is connection. What creates an addiction is a lack of connection. So if we find that connection with ourselves, with our higher selves, with a power greater than us, you don't even have to call it God or the universe. You can just call it, I don't know, my highest self, or you can just call it magic. I don't know, whatever works for you, If you don't believe in that, then you're always just grabbing onto your own strength, and it's never quite enough. It's always playing very small. It's only through really allowing yourself to trust and allowing yourself to receive that guidance, which can't really be explained. It can only be felt. But by having that kind of belief system and that kind of, you don't need to understand it. You just need to acknowledge that it's there and that it can help you. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think you also share some meditations, don't you? There's sort of an accompaniment to the book where people can go
Mm.
to the website and access that. What would you say to someone who's maybe never meditated before, or, people seem to get a bit nervous of it sometimes when they don't really know what it's all about, and I don't know, think it's sort of quite hippie-ish or something. So what would you
Yeah.
say to someone that it can do for you? Because, over the last couple of years, I've really got into it and found a massive change.
Yeah. I think people are scared of meditation because they're scared of their own stillness. We're so addicted to busyness these days. We can't be without our phones or, something to distract us and avoid us from actually going within. So, the great thing about meditation and journaling is that it helps you to go within and just be with yourself, and just stop doing so much. So, I mean, with the meditations in the journal and the book, I think, don't be scared of it. Like, just listen to them. Like, there's no way of doing it wrong. Like, if you want, you can listen to them with your eyes open. Like, if you want, you can listen to them on the tube. Like, you can listen to them and not sit on a cushion. You don't have to, do you know what I mean? There's no right way to do it. Just listen to them. And like, if you don't like it, you can turn it off. But I think, like, if you don't explore these things, then you'll never know. And I also believe, my journey with meditation was very much like, started out kind of very cynical, like, what am I doing? This isn't helping me. And yeah, it's been a great journey for me, and I love it now. But it wasn't like a groundbreaking moment where suddenly I learned to meditate. It was just like accepting that whichever way I was doing it was just fine. And
Yeah.
that's it, really. I mean, I think it's great that people just stop and just take a breather like that. And even if these just get you to do that, then that's great.
Yeah, just like check in with your body, stop with all the
Yeah.
chaos. Yeah, no, definitely. So do you have like a daily meditation practice, or do you kind of just sort of do it quite intuitively?
Yeah, do you know, I used to do it daily, and at the moment now I'm doing journaling in the morning. It's just like free writing, and that feels like a good swap for me at the moment. But yeah, I kind of flip between the two. So like I will feel like, oh, do you know what? I really need to get meditation back into my life, and then I will do that, and for a while, for a few months, and then maybe I will go, do you know what? I really want to write more. You know, as a writer especially, I like getting my thoughts down on paper. So I kind of swap. It's not like, I'm not going to pretend to people that it's like a consistent daily practice for me, because it's not. And I think people think that they have to have that, and it's not true. You can do, it's your life, do you know what I mean? Do what you want. It's like you can take it however you want to take it.
Yeah. And like life happens, I guess. I mean, you know, you've got so much
Yeah.
going on, I guess, with the acting as well, and, you know, book promotion, all of that. So
Exactly, like the point of meditating is not to beat yourself up for not meditating. You know, you're always going to have things happen that stop you from doing it, and you know, you don't want to beat yourself up from that, because what's the point if you're going to do that? You know, some days you're going to sleep in, some days you're going to forget, some days you're just going to say, do you know what, no. And that's okay.
yeah. If you could have people sort of take one thing away from Hungry for More, what would it be?
Ooh, if I could say, I would say it would be for people to understand that their cravings are actually pointing to an area of their life that's out of alignment, or a feeling that they are trying to escape from, and to use that in order to help them grow.
Wow, that's amazing. It's pretty cool. Like, in terms of your journey, it seems to have been sort of, you know, you've gone through some really obviously very difficult stuff, and now
Mm,
that's fueled, you know, not only sort of career type things, but you helping lots of people, but then also rediscovering your passion for acting. Is
mm.
that something, you know, Hungry for More, it sounds like that is almost like a manual for people to be able to kind of do that themselves and dig at what their issues are. Is that kind of how you envisage people using the book?
I hope so. Yeah. I mean, really, it's about figuring out what we're all really hungry for on a soul level. And maybe that is discovering your creativity again. Maybe that is breaking free from a job that you hate. Maybe that is, you know, changing the relationship you're in, or the friendship circles you're in. Maybe that is, you know, building something like a business, or, you know, or maybe it's none of those things. But you know, whatever it is, this book hopefully will help people to figure out what that is for themselves, and how they can make big changes in their life.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite part of the book, or any kind of quote or extract you can share? I don't know, putting you on the spot there. So
Mm.
if not, it's obviously difficult.
That's okay. One of my favorite quotes is, intuitive eating paves the way for intuitive living. And I truly believe that is the case. Like, if you're able to trust your body and eat intuitively, then you can live intuitively and trust your gut. So that is like potentially one of my favorite quotes. And there's also a part in the book whereby I kind of walk people through the exact steps that I used to make big changes in my life. Because I think it's such a scary part of it's such a scary thing to do, and I've done it several times, and it's just yeah, like that is, I think that's really useful for people that are in that position of like, oh my god, I know that I need to change, but I don't know where to start.
Yeah. Like, I guess it's very overwhelming. Like, you know, what's the first thing that people have to do, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing. What advice would you give people who maybe, I don't know, if they feel like they want to do something similar to what you've done in terms of, you know, writing a book or becoming an actress? Because I think sometimes with creative professions, it's quite hard for people to know where to start. You know, if you want to be a doctor, people know that you go to medical school, but like
Mm.
that kind of creative impulse, it's quite hard to get your foot in the door sometimes.
Mm. What advice do I have for them?
Do you have
um
kind of, I don't know, yeah, top tips?
Well, I mean, I think, you know, we're living in a time at the moment where everyone's got a platform and everyone's got a voice. So if you want to share a message, you're like a few clicks away from it, you know. So I think start there, to be honest. Start sharing your message, start building a little community or a little tribe, and just start getting confidence in what you're putting out there into the world. That is the best place to start, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. And are you still running your retreats for?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm actually running a competition. So if you pre-order 3 copies of my new book, you'll be entered into a competition to win a spot on the next Bali retreat that I'm running.
Amazing. So you can pre-order from Amazon right now, can't you?
Yes, exactly. You can pre-order now. And if you go to melwells.com/hungry for more, then you'll see all the details of the competition on there. And there's also a free workshop that you'll get when you pre-order a book as well.
Oh yeah, I think I've pre-ordered. So there's the masterclass, right, where you kind of teach people,
yes,
that, you know, what's coming in the book and
yes, exactly, exactly.
So yeah, everyone pre-order now, and then you get your hands on the masterclass.
Yes.
So when can people get their hands on it? When is it launching?
Launching on the 10th of July.
Okay, fab. So do you have time for a quick fire round? So obviously we've done some of the more deep.
Yeah.
It's going to be, you know, kind of favorite things type, either or options.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Let's go for it.
So if you're ready. Big question. Favorite Spice Girl?
Jerry, 100%. Like, till I die.
Yeah. All about the redhead. Oats or avocado?
Avocado.
Massage or facial?
Massage.
Favorite self-care practice?
Journaling. Oh, or taking myself on a date. I do that a lot.
Talent or hustle?
Talent or hustle?
Yeah.
Both.
Bali or London?
Oh, my heart. I have to say London for now.
Yeah, time and a place, right?
Yeah.
Yoga or dancing?
I'm going to say dancing for now.
Theatre or movies?
Movies.
If you were a mermaid, what colour would your tail and bikini be?
Turquoise.
Yeah. And so the kind of standard last question, if you were having a last ever meal, the kind of morbid death row dinner type thing, or just your favourite food ever, what would you have?
Oh my God, that's such a hard question.
Mine changes daily, I feel like. It is quite hard to like pin down.
Yeah. Do you know what? I always used to say champagne and sushi, but I think I would maybe change the sushi now. I don't know if I'm into sushi as much anymore. I think maybe like, oh God, this is so difficult. Maybe like a steak and like champagne or like cocktails. I would definitely like have alcohol at the table. I think I would just like want like a platter. I think I would just want a buffet of everything, so I got to choose.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Thanks so